Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials.
Bit of an intro from the house this weekend. It's been a manic weekend, rushing around. I had very little time actually on the cabin and the land this weekend. So apologies if the editing of the video is a bit haphazard. There might also be some judicious reviewing of the cabin chat as I go through the edit, for fear of upsetting people who don't like political aspects being mentioned. But anyway, for what it's worth, here's a quick summary of what we got up to over the weekend. I'm sure these get heavier every time I bring them. uh, 3 meat on the land. Very nice. Well, good morning and welcome to another weekend. Weather doesn't know what to do. Sun's actually breaking out now. It's been a bit of a grey morning, but the sun is out. See how long that lasts, because weather's been a little bit weird to say the least over the last few weeks. This week I had a bit of a combination of grey foggy mornings, a couple of mornings where we were scraping ice off the window. Thursday night storm Otto came in, blew across the UK, took out power to last one I saw was 4,000 houses. I suppose 4,000 in a country doesn't seem like a lot, but if it's one of your houses that's suddenly without power and you don't know how long it's going to be for, it clearly is a big problem for you. New Zealand, Cyclone Gabrielle, or Gabrielle, whatever they want to call it, came through. 62,000 people or homes there without power. And in that kind of Asia bit of the planet, lots of cyclones, typhoons, different countries give them different names, but big wind. I guess this side of the world we call them hurricanes. Philippines particularly this year has seen a lot more than usual, causing lots of problems in that part of the world. So weather, a bit bizarre. Before I forget, a few people might have seen in the community tab, I was complaining last weekend about pest damage to trees. My mate Matt, if you're watching, hi Matt, he popped down and took care of a few of the rabbit population. So thanks for that, Matt. There's still plenty to go at. It's not like they've all disappeared. There's a lot down on the field, and it is annoying to say the least, especially as we head now towards planting season. Or traditional planting, spring planting. I'm gonna be cursing because I know what's coming. Lots and lots of different crises have been rumbling around now for some of them a long time, more than a year, some of them. But I guess I really wanted to bring your attention to the cumulative effect. Some might call it the snowball effect. If you've ever seen skiing programs, stories about the skiing resorts around the world, you'll know that it doesn't take much. A little bit of snow one night, not much, bit of a powdery dusting, but the addition of that snow on top of the other snow is enough to cause a huge avalanche down the mountain. Similar kind of thing if when you were kids you made snowmen. So you start with a little ball and you roll it across the grass or across the road, and as it rolls it picks up more and more and more and more and more and builds into a huge block of snow. That's what we're talking about. And that's kind of what's happening with all of these different crises that we've got going on. They're all combining together in that snowball effect to make that huge potential disaster at the end. So while I do talk about lots of different individual crises, I'm sure I keep saying from time to time that this could turn into the mother of all crises if we're not careful, particularly around the war front. And this seems like a never-ending push, agitation, provocation by certain governments who feel duty-bound to impose their will upon the entire planet. A bit like governments individually imposing their will on the population, me, you, general Joe public. Started to get a bit political there. I did notice a comment on last week's video, and absolutely no disrespect to the person who made the comment. We all have our own interests in life. But there was a comment along the lines of, I thought this was a prepping channel, we used to like it as a prepping channel, now it's got too political. And I did actually reply to say I was sorry to hear that particular comment or the views expressed. I still consider myself a prepping channel. I try to avoid going into too much politicisation of what's going on, though I have to say, and I think I did say it in my reply, all of the crises, every single one, apart from perhaps weather-related crises, because much as they'd love to, governments haven't quite yet got a grip of controlling the weather. There are lots of efforts around the planet going on to try and do just that, to make it rain in parts of the countries where it doesn't normally rain. But yeah, with the exception of weather, every single crisis that we've got going on right now has been created by governments. Not by people, but by governments. And they haven't just kind of randomly happened. They've been deliberately made in the way that they're manifesting themselves right now. Take your pick of whichever one you want. Anybody who wants to say, oh no, it's just conspiracy theory, it's just random events that's happened, nothing to do with government manipulation or big business manipulation, pop your example in the comments section and I will gladly explain why that particular problem, crisis, whatever it is, again with the exception of weather, why that's been deliberately engineered by government. So feel free to pop your comments in the comments section about anything. I do appreciate it when people take time out, because they could just not bother, but I'd rather people did, particularly if they're beneficial comments and things about what they're doing that might help other people. So yeah, an early request, get your comments in. Bit of a mixed match this weekend. I seem to be having a lot of these lately. But like everybody else, I've got stuff going on in my own personal life. Whether that's work related, family related, just surviving related. particularly with the cost of stuff right now. I am no different to anybody else. I have outside pressures that impact on me and my time. I would love to spend my entire day down here, as some YouTube channels do. They are in a fortunate position where they don't have to go to work. This is their work, and their income stream from their YouTube channel is sufficient to pay the bills. Unfortunately, that's not me. I have to do a 9 to 5, 6 day a week, sometimes 6 day a week job to fund myself and my own expenses on top of whatever I might be doing here. So I just don't physically have the time and the energy to dedicate myself to building up this little homestead, small holding, big allotment, whatever you want to call it, I'm doing here. So whatever spare time I do have, I do devote to this and my other at-home prepping, but there just never is enough time to do that. Kind of digressed there slightly, as I often do. So yeah, lots of stuff going on, conflict of interest, taking up time away from here at the cabin and on the land. A few family issues. In fact, today, literally, I was out all day pretty much yesterday, Saturday, doing a trip to the north of the country to visit my mother, who's in hospital, and to catch up with my sister, who, bless her, has done an awful lot of work taking care of mum while she's been ill. So thank you for that, Vera. So yeah, that was yesterday. This afternoon, one of my sons sent me a text, "Oh, I've got to go to hospital, get my eye done, so I can't drive." So I'll be taxi servicing in for him, and there's a few other bits and pieces family related I've got to do today. So not much time again this weekend. I have brought down more supplies. I've got another 2 bags of layers, pellets, and a bag of mixed corn in the cupboard here in the cabin. Keep the chickens going. Just trying to keep topping up where I can before the prices go through the roof. A few more bags of compost into the polytunnel. I'm going to be definitely using those as hopefully the seedlings start coming through and they need transplanting into pots and containers. So more supplies have been brought down. I've got a few bits and pieces to do around the cabin. I want to just run through a few preps, so give the generator a fire up, little red tractor a fire up, just to get them ticking over and make sure all is well with them. So lots of non-jobs, as I call them, and hopefully get a little bit more planting in. We'll talk about planting when we have a little walk around. So big wide world, what's going on? More of the same, I guess. Hard to know what to talk about, what not to talk about, but if we do our, I don't know, let's start off with the latest kind of conspiracy theory, the 99 red balloons, as I call it, the Chinese spy balloons. You remember I talked about this in last week's video. Since then, the world has gone balloon crazy. We've got the ones in the US, so you know about those. We had those 4 that were all shut down in a quick succession. Turns out that actually they're not Chinese. The suspicion is that they're research balloons from companies and government departments in the US, actually, so they're shooting down their own. But that sparked off a huge conspiracy theory about, is it aliens visiting the planet? And if we shoot them down, are we going to have a Star Wars Galactica kind of invasion coming because we shot some UFOs down? I don't think they were. If they're smart enough and have the technology to visit planet Earth, an F-16 is not going to shoot them down. You've seen Independence Day, little green shields. So yeah, don't get me started on aliens, for God's sake. So anyway, we had the ones in America, we had the one in Latin America. And it seems the rest of the world wants to get in on the balloon story. So we had Europe, Poland, Romania saying, oh, there's balloons coming over Europe now. And even our own recently anointed Prime Minister here in the UK, he wanted to get in on the act because he was feeling kind of left out, I guess. You know, the rest of the world's got balloon problems and an excuse to ramp up spending on the military and to grandstand and tell the entire world and the aliens that he's not going to stand for it. So our Prime Minister also came out and said he'll do whatever it takes, a bit like COVID, inflation, cost of living crisis, Ukraine war. He'll do whatever it takes to defend the UK. Oh dear. So yeah, that rumbles on in the background. Great distraction story because everybody's getting excited about it. More mundane but more important, I guess, the economy. Prices still continuing to go skyward. But good news, the inflation figures came out last week and they've not reached another record. No, in fact they're dropping by a whole 0.3%, I think. Not 3%, 0.3%. So here in the UK, we're at 10.6%. US cousins, they're at 6.4%, I think. But yeah, don't worry, because it's less than it was last month by a whole point whatever percent. So good news for me and you, even though it's still here in the UK, well over 10.5% actually, yeah, it's good news. There's a bit of a breakdown in the news. I'll put it in the video here, a little clip, just showing you. And bear in mind, these are government statistics. So, little chart there, housing costs associated with just having a house. So, energy, gas, water, electric, council tax, these kind of things, up 26.7% year on year. That's a phenomenal amount, especially when you consider that's the faked, massively reduced percentage that the government wants you to believe is true. But even on their manipulated figures, that's a lot, 26.7%. Food, I have to laugh at this, given all of the stories about meat and egg prices and milk prices lately. But yeah, 16.7% is the official year-on-year increase. It's not just the West that's having this problem, it's a global problem. All over the world, lots and lots of countries really starting to struggle. Some of the stories on that slide there, Argentina, they've got to print bigger banknotes now, bit reminiscent of the Germans before World War II kicked off with hyperinflation. Inflation in Argentina, 95%. Can you believe that? 95%, and they're having to produce bigger banknotes to try and cope with it. The Egyptian currency has been halved, literally halved in the last year in value. Things are so bad there, people who enjoy reading books or students who need books for school and university, they're taking out bank loans to buy books. Can you believe that? So while we mourn about taking out a bank loan to buy a car or a house, they're having to do that just to buy books. Philippines, I mentioned during the weather, they've had lots of problems with these typhoons, tropical storms coming through, massive impact on harvests there. So much so that onions, which is a staple in Asian cuisine, the prices for onions are at an all-time high. People can't afford them now. They're luxury goods now. A kilo of onions in the Philippines right now is £10. What's that, $12.50-ish? I don't know. Can't remember what the rate is now, pound dollar. But £10 a kilo. So for our American cousins, that's kilo is 2.2 pounds. So £4.5 of onions for $12.50. It's just crazy, 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 crazy. And it is a global problem now. There is nobody escaping this. Other stuff that's in the news, and again, I'm trying not to be political, but this is Western governments causing these war-type crises around the world. There's a huge military exercise going on with South Korea and the US. It's all part of this showing military presence to dominate China, in essence. So that, of course, pees off the North Koreans, who had their, I think I mentioned it last week, their annual parade displaying all of their military might. So this big exercise, with nuclear forces included, peed off the North Koreans, so they test-fired a missile. Media went up in arms. Oh, there's a nuclear missile test, and it's gone into Japan's territory. Actually, it didn't. It was 560 miles away from Japan, which is a fair old distance. I wouldn't call that incursion into Japanese territory, since countries have a 12-mile limit. So 560 miles, it's just media hype and propaganda again to stir up this, we're on the brink of World War III again. But quite sad, this is political to a degree, but it's relevant to me because I've been there and lived there. You remember the big earthquake that hit Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, that area of the Middle East? Well, technically, I guess Turkey is a combination. It's part Asia, part Europe, but you know what I mean. So Turkey and Syria last week, literally just over a week ago, massive earthquake. I've got a friend that actually lives there, and I was on the phone to him, just checking in to make sure that they were okay. And he was telling me the state of the place. So yeah, huge devastation with this earthquake in Turkey and Syria. In Syria, there's 5 million people now homeless and over 33,000 dead in that country. And that country's been screwed over the last 4 or 5 years, maybe more now actually, by this Western incursion into the north of Syria, under the guise of defeating ISIS terrorists. They're still there. They've still got control of a big chunk of northern Syria where, strangely enough, all of the oil and gas fields are. So essentially the Americans are sucking all the oil and gas out and then selling it on. They've just taken over the oil fields and gas fields in Syria. But it's not funny, because now this earthquake hit, all of this devastation, what does Israel do? I mean, they've been doing it all the way through this forgotten war almost. But literally this week, they launched an airstrike on the capital, Damascus. I think there was 15 dead in the airstrike. But, you know, I mean, come on, guys. They've just been taken out by the Americans, essentially, in a proxy war. Then a week ago, they have this huge earthquake that's devastating the country, which is already on its knees financially and economically. And some people just can't resist kicking when they're down. So the Israelis chuck in an airstrike and bomb the capital. I mean, really, guys? Anyway, if the person who was watching that commented and said I was too political, and I openly admit that is kind of political, but I really don't give a shit. This is Western behaviour at its worst, and really we should be frankly ashamed of what our governments have been doing over the last few decades. And I'm going to leave it on that note because I'm starting to get annoyed. And I want to do something else instead to take my mind off it. Anyway, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're staying safe and well and enjoying your weekend. Do let me know in the comment section what you're up to. Are you planting yet? I know some of you are because you've told me, and I'm really pleased about that. The sooner we can get started, the earlier we'll be harvesting and saving ourselves going to the supermarket and buying food. So please do, if you're not, think about it now. If you've never done it before, scroll back through the videos. There are prepping videos there, I promise you. There's endless videos about starting your own little garden and growing your own vegetables. No matter what size space you have, doesn't matter how small it is, pots on a balcony even, you can be surprised what you can actually grow yourself if you invest a little bit of time and just get on with it. So yeah, let us know what you're doing. I'm going to get cracked on because that time is short. I've heard them, got little text messages vying for my attention and my time for the rest of today. So whatever I am doing, whatever I can get done, I'll let you know in the video as we go through. Well, we've not done this for a while, so I'll give you a quick run round. Garden room, things are springing into life. Look at this. We've got green shoots on the fig tree. We've got green shoots coming now on at least one of the blueberry bushes. Quite a lot actually of green shoots on this one. This is the more mature one. The others are still looking a bit brown and faded, though having said that, this one is showing some signs of life. Those are new leaves on that one. So yeah, the bushes are starting to come into life. I did cut back these chili plants just to see what happens with them. I have saved seeds from those just in case they don't survive the winter. Strawberries, these have been overwintered. You might notice there's a tray missing. That's because I'm going to plant that out in one of the beds outside that got ravaged by the pigeons and the rabbits, and just fill a few gaps. So that's the garden room. I've got a couple of little jobs to do in terms of equipment, so I'll get those out of the way and then we'll take a run into the polytunnel and see what's happening there. Just filling in some of the gaps in this strawberry bed. You might remember the pigeons took an awful lot of them. Well, combination of pigeons and rabbits. My two pet hates on the field. So I'm just grabbing a couple of extra plants out of the garden room just to fill in. I've actually got a lot of strawberries in the garden room because I do every year make a point of just letting them put the runners out catch them in trays. So there's never a shortage of strawberry plants, or soil for that matter. Probably got too many now. Is it possible to have too many strawberries? Don't think it is. It's just nice to be out in the beds, actually putting something in. Bit of weeding while I'm here. Last one can go there. So there we go. Bit of spare soil, put that on one of the beds over here, and we're done. Well, we've actually got a bit of sunshine come out, as if to celebrate the strawberries been planted out. No signs yet of the onion sets. I say no signs. There's a tiny little, I don't know if you'll see that or not, down there, look. Tiny little green shoot coming through. I'm desperately looking for some more, but I can't in all honesty see any more. But the garlic, look at that. Garlic coming on really strong, despite the best efforts of the rabbits again, who seem to have been chewing around here in this corner. There's a few that's been cropped. I don't know if you'll see those in there or not. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's take a peek in the polytunnel. I've brought down some more potatoes that I've chitted. I've just literally as well filled up the paraffin heater, so I need to go and grab a lighter and relight that. No signs yet of the carrots that I planted coming through. Equally no sign yet of the lettuce in these tubs that I planted out. That's the potatoes there. I'll come to those in a minute. The lettuce that I planted in these trays, again, no sign. This is what, week 2? Yeah, week 2. I had hoped I'd see some signs of life in these by now. There's tomatoes and cucumbers in this one. But the big reveal, peas. The peas have made an appearance, look. I've got, how many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 there have come through. So I'm really excited about that, because you might remember peas has been something that I've not had a great deal of success with. So is this the year for the peas? I guess you'll find out shortly. So yeah, let me grab that bag and I'll drag a few more containers across for the potatoes. No sign of life yet in these. I'm sorry to report there's nothing in here, or it doesn't appear to be in any of these. But it is still early, so I'll grab that bag and we'll plant out some more. So these are the potatoes. I'll just grab a couple so you can see. Hopefully you can see those. Quite a few nice chits on those. So we'll pop these in. all I'm going to do, dig down a bit, and I think I might be inclined to layer these. I'm just going to put maybe 5 in each. And there's a couple there. I'll come back and cover those up. Same with this one. Dig down a bit. Really nice chits on these. I'm quite pleased with myself. Simple pleasures. That's the last one. So I'll cover those up with a bit of fresh compost, give them a little bit of a water, and they can join their friends over there. Fingers crossed. Well, that's it for today, unfortunately. Lots of stuff to be done away from here. Nice to see a bit of sunshine coming out. It's bringing out the walkers. I've heard a lot of them walking past on this bridleway at the back of the tree line here. Let's just take a quick peek because the sun is actually beaming down on the beehives. So let's just very quickly have a little look. Oh, I can see already there's lots of activity outside. That's nice to see. There we go, look. They're all out and about. Good morning, bees. That's nice to see. I wish there was a bit more for them to be foraging. This one's going crazy. Look at this one. Crazy. That's really nice to see. So there we go. Unexpected, but very nice to see all this sunshine. Have we got any signs of life on these trees? We're still looking a bit dormant. I don't see anything there. What I do see is they've been trying to dig this one up again. This poor fruit tree has just been attacked to death. It really has. I'll be stunned if this survives this year. I mean, look, you know, it's just chewing off complete branches. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, I must go. I've got so much to do. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're staying safe and well and enjoying your weekend. And I look forward to catching up with you all again in the next one.
Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, I welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. Just feel free to leave them in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.